Is that me? I think that's me. I think that's me now live, is it? I'm trying to figure this out. It's been a while, guys. Okay, let me off. It's been a while. It's been a long old while. Huh? Yep, there we go. Right. We are live. Annoyingly, I can't seem to be able to change. Can I not like go into, can I not view the broadcast and change it, or do I have to go? I'll go into YouTube Studio and I'll change it. That's what I'll do. Right, anyway, we are live for F1 qualifying. I've just been out. Don't worry, I am not drunk in any way, shape, or form. If you do notice the 2026 F1, 2025 F1 driver standings, no you don't, I'm going to change it. Don't worry, it's not going to be there for long. Bortoleto is on the sideline at the moment. Right, I'm just going to very quickly download that, because then at least I can just go and put it in. I just need to crop that a little bit as well. Properties. I'm not even watching it right now. I'm trying to like work this out. Okay, right. So uncrop the left a little bit. And then once I can actually see the two properly. Yeah, that's good. Right. And then I haven't got the positions up. However, there. That's the best I can do right now. Okay, right, yeah. So we're live. Perez on a lap at the moment. Of course, this is Cadillac's first home race, technically. Although technically their actual home race is in Kota. I'm just gonna very quickly put on my Insta that I am live. And there we go. Let me just make sure that's uploaded. Yep, right, we are live. Okay, perfect. Now I'll get the live chat up on my phone. There we go, right. Now we are properly live and we are actually going. So, Verstappen on a lap at the moment as well. So far, Beerman, Lindblad, Perez and Stroll have set lap times so far. Alonso's just gone third, ahead of Perez, Stroll and Bottas, and Ocon's now up to second, so it's a 1-2 for Haas at the moment. Hulkenberg on a lap, coming round into turn number 16 and 17 now. This is where we saw a lot of overtakes in the F2 race. Brilliant race. In case you didn't watch it, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was very entertaining the last few laps. So Hulkenberg is going to come across the line. He's on the medium tyres, which is rather interesting, and he's going to be setting a 1 minute 31.503, which isn't too bad considering he's on the mediums. You'll expect him to be ahead of Lindblad based on the fact that Lindblad's about 3 tenths ahead of him, 2.5 tenths, give or take. Hadjar's just gone top, 29.9, the first driver in the 129s in this qualifying session, and Max Verstappen's going to obliterate that and go and set a 1 minute 29, almost 0.1 flat. And here we see the Ferraris, Leclerc and Hamilton. If you want to sync up to me, I am at 12:55 right now to go in the session. Hamilton and Leclerc coming round. Leclerc goes second quickest, 3.5 tenths down on Verstappen, so good pace from the Red Bull of Verstappen so far. Hamilton now also coming across the line, and he is a little bit behind his teammate, a little bit behind Charles Leclerc. Let me just check my audio's working. 3.5 tenths down on Verstappen. Yep, there we go. Right, audio's working perfect. And Norris has just gone up to second, so very good opening lap from Verstappen to the point where Norris is behind him. Could Verstappen pull something out the bag? Nah, surely not. Surely not. Although if anybody could do it, it would be that man. But we haven't seen the Mercedes guys yet, and Piastri's not set a proper lap time yet. Of course, Piastri won last year around the streets of Miami, and he was a contender for the victory in 2024, but unfortunately got screwed over by the bad timing of the safety car and ended up having all sorts of incidents and finished quite low down, if I recall. But now we've got Piastri on a lap, Verstappen still top, ahead of Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton and Hadjar. That's your top 5 with 11.5 minutes to go in the session. And then running at the top 10, Behrman, Ocon, Lundblad, Hulkenberg, who's on the medium tyres, and Alonso in 10th, with Piastri, 2 Mercedes cars, the 2 Alpines, Alex Albon, Gabriel Bortoleto, who I don't think is going to be in this session, and Liam Lawson 2 set a time. Currently 3 drivers who are going to be in the session are down pit lane, and that's the 2 Alpines and Albon. Lawson's on his out lap, and the 2 Mercedes guys and Piastri currently on a lap right now. Piastri coming into the middle part of the second sector and now heading towards the very, very, very tight section, the chicane, which, you know, is basically blind for a driver, so you have to make sure you get this precise, and if you don't, you're either going to end up in the barriers or you're going to lose your lap time over the chicane. But he's got through there nice and clean. He's 7/10 down on Verstappen, but at the end of the day, when it comes to Q1, you just need to make sure you're within about a second and a half, currently based on the current trajectory of the cars, and you'll be probably all right. And now he comes into the tight braking at turn 17 and exits turn 17. It goes through the kink of turn 18, and I don't even know if that is a turn 19 or not, but he comes across line 6th fastest, just under a second behind, and he is the first driver that's in the 130s. And there goes Antonelli, and that shows how good Verstappen's lap is. Antonelli is only 2nd fastest. He is only 0.06 of a second behind, but he's still in 2nd place at the moment, and Russell's also going to be 2nd. He had a very poor lap. He's behind Piastri in 8th. So currently, out of the session are the guys who haven't done laps yet, basically, and Bottas. So this is a replay of Albon, who was on his lap, and he's had a big lockup into turn 11, and that is not good news at all for Alex Albon. Definitely won't be wanting to make that mistake again. And Carlos Sainz had a lockup as well, but that's not into the same corner. That's into... I don't even know what corner that's into, to be honest. I can't really tell. But there's Liam Lawson. The Racing Bulls had a very, very difficult sprint race. Arvid Lindblad didn't even start it, and Liam Lawson definitely didn't have a great run. He was battling with the Cadillacs and the Aston Martins, which shows the pace that they had, and is an indication, really, of just how difficult things have been for Racing Bulls this weekend. They've not been able to really fight in the midfield like they have in the previous rounds of the season so far, but Lawson will be hoping to end that negative voodoo spell that they have had around here this weekend. He's coming out of turn number 16 now, down onto the back straight towards turn 17. White flags waving and blue flags as well as he comes up towards traffic. That is the Aston Martin. No, it's Mercedes. Beg my pardon. And here comes Lawson out the last corner now. He's going to come towards the line. What lap time is he going to set? Is it going to be a 1:30? Yes, it is. That is a brilliant lap from Liam Lawson, and that is more like what we were expecting from Racing Bulls. He is ahead of Hadjar, he is ahead of Piastri, and he's ahead of George Russell as well. And that means that now in the knockout zone is Sainz, Bottas, and the 4 guys that haven't set laps. One of whom is Bortoleto, who likely won't be competing in this session. And one of them is Alex Albon, who is currently coming across the line right about now. He's heading towards turn 18 and the little kink. And he comes across the line, and he too is into the top 10 now. He sets a time that is 0.06 of a 0.07 of a second, no, 0.06 of a second ahead of Ollie Behrman. Nico Hulkenberg also on a lap currently, and he is looking very quick on this lap. A green sector in the first. What's it going to be in the second? Is it going to be a green or is it going to be a yellow? It's not going to be a purple one anyway, and it is 3.5 tenths. And there's Bortoleto in the race car, and he is going to get out. Brilliant news for Bortoleto, who of course was disqualified from sprint qualifying in what was a dismal time for Audi, because he was disqualified from the sprint and Hulkenberg didn't even start it because his engine went kabloom. And Behrman is up to 4th. What a lap from Ollie Behrman. That is very, very, very impressive. As Hulkenberg goes up into 7th in what was another very, very good lap. Right, I'm trying to see if I can add a... let's see if I can add a window capture. Can I? Let's see. No, I don't think I can. Because I've got it on the screen right now and it's not letting me. Yeah, it's not letting me. Right, okay. I will just get rid of that. Right. Hopefully it doesn't take me off the actual thing. There we go. Right, so Gasly's now coming across the line, and is it going to be 130? Yes, it is. He is now just about into 12th. Tiny bit ahead of Albon, who is now in 13th. Sainz in 14th. Colapinto goes into 9th. And once Bortoleto has set a proper time, we'll get a proper indication of who is going to be in and who's going to be out. And it's very tight at the moment. I said it was going to be a second and a half. It's less than that. We're back to sort of Hallican days of last year, where everybody was in about a second and a half of the field, although the exceptions to that, the two Aston Martins and the Cadillacs. Leclerc is bailing on that lap. He is currently in 5th, and he is doing a very, very decent job. He's behind his future teammate, or who will most likely be his future teammate in Ollie Behrman, because I heavily doubt he's going to be the one to replace Leclerc at Ferrari. And there is Gabriel Bortoleto, the Sao Paulo driver, is getting ready to head out onto the circuit. Sao Paulo conditions are very similar to Miami. Very warm, although it can at times be awfully rainy. And let's see how he gets on. Everybody's sort of down pit lane right now, waiting to get their final runs in. Maybe even having a cheeky little quick look at the car feedback, seeing what they can do, what corners they can improve in. But one thing is for certain, the two Cadillacs will probably not go through, and neither will the two Aston Martins, because the Aston Martins are currently 7/10 off of making it through, and the two Cadillacs are 1.7 seconds off getting through. So that shows the lack of pace that they have. Oscar Piastri is down in only 11th, and George Russell is only down in 12th. But the order currently is Verstappen, followed by Antonelli, then Norris, Behrman, and Leclerc. So 5 different manufacturers, 5 different teams, I should say, inside the top 5. And then it's Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Hadjar, Lawson, and Colapinto. So almost every team in the top 10 there, apart from Williams, Aston Martin, Audi, Audi are in the top 10, apart from Aston Martin, Williams, and Cadillac. So very, very nice and diverse in that top 10. You've got all of the different engine suppliers apart from Honda. And here's Piastri, and he is doing what is called running in the gap. So he is basically, while nobody else is out on track, getting his lap in clean air. The track is relatively rubbered in, but not completely rubbered in, as it will be by the end of the session. And there is Gabriel Bortoleto coming out onto the circuit, and Piastri on his lap, his first sector, a 10th down on Verstappen's, so not ideal. He's already slower than his teammate Lando Norris was through the whole lap, so he'll be having to make up time in the middle and final sectors to actually finish ahead of his teammate by the end of this session, and Norris still hasn't gone out for his second run. George Russell is following Piastri's sort of guidance in a way, and is also running in the gap. His first sector is a lot more what we expect, and that is slightly quicker than Verstappen, although it isn't a purple, so does that mean that somebody else was quicker in the first sector? I think maybe Norris was, but Piastri very slow in the second sector, 7/10 down on Verstappen. Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli with a purple first sector. That'll be why Russell doesn't have one. And here comes Piastri into the final corner now, final braking zone, now through the two sort of slight turns, and he stays in 11th. He doesn't improve, and that is not good news for Oscar Piastri, because he is only 2/10 above the cutoff line of 16th. He's 11th right now, and based on the way George Russell's lap is going, it looks like it's going to be 12th, because Russell is improving on his lap Let's see, Russell coming round the final corner now, and it's going to be a 1 minute 29.4. That puts him up into 7th, and that should be him now safe, but Piastri isn't. Antonelli goes top. Wow! That was some final sector by Kimi Antonelli. Well, so he wasn't too quick in the middle. It was the final sector that really made the difference. But one thing that you're really noticing looking at the timing screens is that there aren't many drivers who are really improving in the middle sector. In fact, the only driver that will be improving in the middle sector for Absolute is Gabriel Bortoleto, because he hasn't had a lap yet. So, here we go. Heading down the back straight now. We've got a whole bunch of cars, some of whom are getting ready to do their laps, and some of whom are starting their laps. Bortoleto, does he have a problem, or is he just warming up his tyres? Nope, he's just warming up his tyres, and this is quite interesting. We've got a whole gaggle of cars here. We've got a Williams, we've got an Audi, we've got a Racing Bulls, we've got a Ferrari, we've got and 2 Aston Martins. So, all of them clamped together in one little tight little group, which is rather interesting. But here we go, Bortoleto, first lap on the board this qualifying session. Can he repeat some of his qualifying performances from this year? Can he get out of Q1? We're going to find out. He's on the lap right now, coming through the first sector, the very high-speed section of the track. To be fair, quite a lot of this track is rather high-speed. Colapinto has been given a black and white flag for failing to ignore for failing to follow race director's instructions, so he's been ignoring those. The projected cut-off time is a 1:29.8, and there's a plus or minus differential of 0.2. And Gasly has just gone up to 11th, just outside that time. So we'll see if he is in boundaries or not. Hadjar goes 4th, a very good lap from the Frenchman from Paris, the Parisian, the Le Petit Prost, up into 4th. Alonso not improving in the first sector. Lindblad not improving in the first sector, but both pretty close to Ocon's first sector time. Bortoleto's above it at the moment. Albon goes up to 11th ahead of Lawson, Gasly and Piastri, who's down to 14th now. So he could be in danger potentially if Sainz, Ocon and Lindblad both improve massively. Now, good news for Piastri is that Lindblad is not improving by much, if at all. Leclerc goes up to 2nd, Ocon goes up to 13th. And that's going to be crucial because Piastri is now 15th. He is on the cutoff line. And there goes Sainz up into 9th. Piastri is now in 16th. And Gabriel Bortoleto is improving, but he's not improving by enough. And he is 5 seconds down. So forget what I'm saying. Lindblad doesn't do it either. Can Fernando Alonso potentially get in on the action? He is 4 tenths down last time I checked, and he's squirreling out the last corner, the last braking zone, and he's given up on his lap. So is Lance Stroll, presumably, and that's a big lockup from Alonso there. Stroll's going to finish his lap, and that is going to put him just behind Alonso. He improves his time. Perez improves his time as well, but he's still quite a bit down on Piastri. And there's Piastri going through now. He doesn't need to complete the lap, but he will anyway, and he is going to be slightly safer, but not really much safer. But there's Bottas, and he is now completing his lap, and he goes ahead of his teammate Sergio Perez, so he wins the bragging rights there. So, out in Q1, Lindblad, Alonso, Stroll, Bottas, and Perez. Right, let me just get this text up now if I do have it still. Right. So, out of qualifying, we have... Let me just sort this out, guys. I'm a one-man team at the end of the day. Lindblad, Alonso, Stroll, Bottas, Perez. Oh, there we go, and... And can I put a scroll on that? Let's see. Can I put a scroll? That actually looks really nice. I just got to make it a bit more spaced out. Oh, yes. That looks good. I've done a pretty good job with the scroll, guys. What do you think? I think I've done a good job with it there. And that's the sort of stuff you kind of need to learn when you're sort of on the job, I suppose. Do you know what? I might be cheeky and I might message my journalism group chat. Let's see. Do you know what's crazy, right? That thumbnail isn't even from today, and yet it's the exact same top. That is incredible. What? That is a mad coincidence. That is a mad coincidence, that. That's wild. Right, there we go. Right. So it is currently the end of Q1, and as you guys can see, these are the drivers who are out of the session. So you've got Arvid Lindblad, who's the first driver that was knocked out, and then you've also got Fernando Alonso. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the speed of that a little bit quicker because it's a bit slow, isn't it? I'll go and do that for you guys now. Let me see, where is the transform bit? Filters, here we go. Right, horizontal speed, I'll make it much quicker. That is so much better. You can actually read that quite quickly. So there you guys go. There's who is out of Q1. I've got the constructor standings right there, and I'm still working on the driver standings, so please give me time. And Lord, give me patience. Because if you give me strength, I'm going to need bail money. To quote the icon that is John Kennedy. And by the way, when I say icon, I mean he's iconic for his quotes, not for his political beliefs. I do not agree politically with that man on most things. The human brain is a wonderful organ. It starts at conception and it ends when you enter Congress. Chuck Schumer's the kind. Most people learn from their mistakes after 2 or 3 times, but Chuck Schumer takes about 6 times before he finally realizes his mistakes and corrects them. Iconic. Absolutely iconic. Anyway, we are back. F1 broadcast is back. Start of Q2 will be delayed apparently, and I cannot hear any radio, which is rather annoying. But that's what I get for breaking my headphones. Like the idiot that I am. Do you know, I really should have just worked on the driver standings graphic while I was on break. The annoying thing is though, right, whenever I try to edit it, it just... Oh, there we go, that's better. Now it's actually letting me do it. I can actually put in, like, the numbers now. That's nice. It's nice that you're letting me do this now, about 25 minutes after I've actually started streaming. Lovely, thank you very much, Canva. Bloody Canva. Honestly. Anyway, it's not too bad. Still waiting for the start of Q2, guys, so bear with. Not really much I can do about that, to be honest. It's not like I'm in charge of the FIA or anything. If I was in charge of the FIA, then this whole regulation change would have been very, very different. But anyway, I mean, to be fair, I know somebody who used to work at the FIA, and I actually interviewed him for one of my uni projects. Although that interview will never be going public because, yeah, it's just a private little thing, you know. It's for my uni, and I promised I wouldn't share it anywhere else. So, in case you're wondering who I'm talking talking about Robert Reid, because he actually, we did it in person because he still lives in Scotland, surprisingly. I was thinking, oh, he's a rally driver, you know, he's a legendary rally driver. Surely he doesn't live in Scotland anymore. But no, he still lives here. I don't know if he did when he was working at the FIA. He probably lived in London back then, but still. Right. I've got the driver standings. I've got the numbers done in terms of their places. I just need to get the actual results up. So let me go and the number, how many points they have up. So this is gonna be absolutely horrific, but I'm doing this on a massive whim. I only just got back from a pub from the pub, so yes, I actually go out. Believe it or not, guys. Okay, it's starting in 2 minutes. It's just said there. So 2 minutes until it restarts, and then we will be good to go. I'm currently just getting some of these graphics set up, and there is there. Go back one. Okay, then Norris is on 33 points. No thanks, I don't want to open dev tools. Right, then we've got Piastri on 28. Behrman on 17. Bro, Behrman be carrying Haas. For real. That's the kind of thing I would tweet. By the way, guys, Carson Osvar's on pole again. My goat. I also found out that he's not a fan of Lando Norris, and in case you weren't aware, I'm not exactly Lando's hugest admirer either. But to be fair, I'm impartial. I can be impartial if I need to be. So that's another thing I agree with him on. That's crazy. The fact that Hadjar's only got 4 points this season. Do you know, it sucks, because the thing is, right, I think we were all thinking, oh, he's broken the curse, and now that the upgrades have come out, he's a second slower than Verstappen. Just because the car is for Verstappen. So this is what I don't like about Red Bull, right? The reason why they have a second driver curse is because they do what Lotus used to do, right? And I don't know if you guys know what Lotus used to do, but what Lotus used to do was they used to put the emphasis on one car and then kind of just let the other car just exist. Because back then, right, your best finished driver per race was the only one that scored points. And so Lotus used to get away with basically blue murder, because when they had one driver who was winning all the races and another driver who was just finishing like 8th and not even scoring points, because back then you didn't score points for 8th, it didn't even matter, because basically if your driver was winning every race, you were going to win the constructors. So it was quite ridiculous back then. That was how it worked though, which is crazy. I'm still trying to figure out how to get all these in line, but it's pretty tricky, so I apologize. The only way I'd be able to get them all in line is if I had them on a separate graph. Right, there we go. 12, 11, 10. Right, Q2 is going to be starting in a second, so let me just get some of these sorted out. Right, I've done these to the best of my ability, guys, so don't judge. And if you do, I will be a bit sad that you've critiqued my my graphic design. I'm not very good at it, guys, okay? I'm not very good at it. Don't expect miracles from me. I'm not a miracle maker or worker. Nope. Yeah, okay, right. That's probably best I can do, guys. Right, I'm gonna add it now, and then we're good for Q2. I've literally just done this completely on the fly. That's quite funny because that was actually the name of my news group in uni. There we go! Boom! There you go. I've got all of them up now. Right. Perfect. We can now officially cook. We are now cooking with gas again. I remember these graphics last year. They weren't exactly amazing, but look, they're made by me. I didn't steal anything from anybody, which is a lot better than some other people, I suppose. So yeah. Q2's begun. It started about a minute ago, and I've probably gotten onto it now. And what the what's that? Is that like those bags, those bin bags? Is that blowing on the side of the track? I could get into somebody's car. I remember when that used to happen. A piece of, if there was a plastic bag that got into the car, but overheat, damaged the engine. Oh. Oh, those were the days, man. Those were the days. Those were the days. But anyway, we still have a decent series. I mean, it's not as good as it used to be. And I think most people can agree on that. But look, well, I think it can't get any worse. It's like the Mick McCarthy quote. It can't get worse, can it? It can. It fucking can. But there's Verstappen, the man who was leading most of Q1, and then Antonelli decided at the end to just go, yeah, I'm going to show my true pace a little bit, and was ahead by about almost half a second, and then Leclerc went second and was about 2/10 down. So maybe there's hope yet, but I doubt. Antonelli's pace in qualifying 1 was ridiculous. I'm a bit worried about Oscar Piastri though, because I mean he was 16th in Q1. A bit alarming, isn't it? I'm just checking my notifications on my phone. So Verstappen going through the first sector, it's not a purple now. Hulkenberg isn't purple either. So who is it that's set a purple? We're going to find out hopefully in a second. He's going through the very, very tight section of 14, 15 and 16. And now he's going to get himself a bit of a slipstream from, is that an Alpine? I think it was an Alpine. And now he's coming down towards turn number 17, the last braking zone on the track. Very, very fast, about 180, 190 miles an hour, hitting the brakes. Got to make sure you get the timing right, otherwise you're going to end up doing an Alex Albon a few years ago and go straight on, having to do a flick spin. And is it going to be a 1 minute 29? Yes, no, it's 128.9. So Verstappen says, mate, these tyres are terrible, they have no grip, and then he goes and sets a 128.9. Has he been listening to Lewis Hamilton a bit too much there? I mean, Hamilton used to always go, guys, my tyres are dead, and then he'd set a fastest lap the next lap. Hulkenberg goes a second slower, and in the middle between those two is Hadjar. So there goes Lawson starting his lap. Some skiers appearing on screen. To be fair, she's got more Olympic medals than I'll ever have, so fair play. Oh, she's got Barilla on her cap. It's pretty cool. In case you don't know who Barilla are, they're a pasta company. They sponsor F1. And one of the Barillas actually drove an F1. Paulo Barilla used to drive for Minardi. But anyway, the Ferraris have split the fastest sectors. Leclerc's going to come across the line, and he's going to go top by almost 4/10 from Verstappen, and Hamilton's now going to come across the line right about now, and he is just slightly ahead of Leclerc. So very evenly matched are the Ferraris. Currently, the last two of the lap set are the two Williams guys who are in 6th and... Okay, I'll stop for a few seconds. Oh, big bit of oversteer for Norris there. Completely lost the car in the first sector of the track. I think that's turn 6, is it? Let's see. Let's have a quick wee look. Is that turn 6? I believe it's turn 6. It is. Yes, it is. Turn 5 going into turn 6. So that's currently the order. It's the two Ferraris, and then it's the two Red Bulls, then Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Behrman, and then the two Williams guys, but that's everybody who's done laps. I say that, Colapinto's just gone ahead of Gasly. Very good lap from Colapinto, to be fair. He's slowly starting to get there. The two Red Bulls have come into the pits. That's their first runs over. Lawson goes up into 7th. He's the only Racing Bulls in Q2, and it doesn't surprise me that Lindblad's been knocked out in Q1 because he really hasn't got much track time. Piastri goes 3rd. That's a bit more like it. A 128.9. That's more like the lap times we were expecting from him. And then Antonelli goes 1st by just over a 10th. So maybe there's a bit of hope. Maybe not. We'll see. Russell goes 3rd. Same time as Hamilton. 1 1/4 tenths behind Antonelli. And they are tied for 2nd, currently in the knockout zone. Now, that is a man who's actually a racing fan, by the way, Patrick Dempsey. They shouldn't have put actor there. They should have put actor and racing driver, because he is a racing driver. Patrick Dempsey is actually a racing driver. So, he's one of the few people who's there that's a celebrity that's actually interested in the damn thing. He actually played Piero Taruffi in the Ferrari film. If you don't know who Piero Taruffi was, he was... the first driver there was a one-time F1 race winner. No, second driver after Fagioli, but he was the first driver to win a race individually and that be his only Grand Prix victory in modern F1 history, because Fagioli won a race along with Fangio, Juan Manuel Fangio. Anyway, that's a F1 history lesson for you guys. But anyway, currently top 10, Antonelli, Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar, Colapinto, Gasly, and Lawson. Norris isn't set a time yet. In the knockouts knockout zone at the moment is Ocon 11th, Hulkenberg in 12th, Behrman 13th, Albon 14th, and Sainz in 15th. 3/10 separate Lawson in 10th and Ocon in 11th. And you see Lawson's pace and you genuinely wonder how Lindblad got knocked out, but the margins will be a bit tighter by the end of this, and also Lindblad really didn't have much track time compared to his teammates when it came to qualifying and the sprints. He's not got as much data. Of course, there was only one practice session, which was an hour and a half long, and that's because of the sprint and sprint qualifying. So there is the McLaren of Norris, who is going to be running in the gap, similarly to how his teammate Oscar Piastri and his compatriot and former F2 championship rival George Russell did, and that was running in the gap in Q1, and let's see how that goes for him. Antonelli still top. There's Andrea Sella, the team principal. Norris is the only driver out on track, so this is a good time for McLaren sponsors to get a little bit of airtime. And here he comes down towards turn 17. He's at turn 6. He's on the straight between 16 and 17. And there he goes around the final corner, final braking zone. It's not the final corner, in fact. There's actually, I believe, 19 turns here, technically. But 17's the last braking zone. Anyway, starting his lap, Lando Norris is, and he comes in towards turn 1. Try and make sure you don't go too wide or lock the brakes through this section, because it will basically compromise your whole run through the first part of the track, because it's a very fast and flowing section, a left, right, a little bit of a straight in between, but you got to make sure that you don't do what Lando did the first time he came around here, and that is lose the back end of the car and oversteer. And that's not too bad a first sector. It doesn't look too bad, and he is 6/10 up on Lawson, which is a good time compared to the Kiwi, and that means that he's probably going to be about 8/10 ahead, maybe 9/10, could even be a second ahead by the time he gets around to the end of the second sector. Of course, he's got that Mercedes power unit in him, which is currently leading the World Championship with Kimi Antonelli, and that seems to be a very smooth, a little bit of oversteer on the exit. He's turned in a bit too early there, I think, anyway, going into 14 and 15, but it's not compromised him too much, and he's actually gone a tiny bit quicker, but not as quick as I expected him to be. I think his bit of oversteer out of turn 12, I think it was, cost him a little bit of time, and then he turned in a bit too early for turn 14, and so he didn't get an optimal line through there, because he couldn't get the maximum amount of time because he turned in too early. So as a result, he wasn't able to really get the best out of his car through there. But he still manages to go into 9th, but that wasn't a particularly great lap from him. He's still got, I think, at least another 10th and a half in there, maybe 2 tenths, especially in that middle sector. The first sector looked quite clean, the third sector looked quite fine, but the second sector is where he's, I think, got a big improvement to have, and I've not even checked what the live timing is, but I bet you right now I look at it, and that is exactly what it will probably say. I want to see if that's right, so let me just get it up for you guys right now. I'm going to have to sign in with my... Is it going to be on my account or my old man's account? It's on my account. There we go. Right, let's see. Q2. Launch live timing. And... there we go. Right, sectors. Oh no, it doesn't let me access sectors. That's annoying. That's really annoying, actually. It's not letting me look at that. I'm trying to think, what's Supash's website called again? Oh, what's that website called that he'd made again? I can't remember. So basically, there's a guy I used to do some writing for, and he has a website for like live timing and things like that, and it's really good. Hang on a second. F1 live timing free. Right, let's see. Is it Formula Timer? Let's have a little look. There's 3 minutes to go, and Hamilton, Piastri, Lawson, Ocon. Oh yes, yeah, this is it. I think this is it here. I want to have a look and see Norris. Yeah, I'm right. I'm spot on. 0.2 slower in the middle part of the lap, which is worse than any other sector apart from the first. So there is, I think, and he's slower than Colapinto and his teammate through there, whereas he's quicker through the first part and in the second part and in the last part, but he's slower in the middle part. So that just shows it's not been a great lap from Norris there, and he's still got a lot of ground to make up. This is actually a really, really useful piece of kit, this Formula Timer thing. It's very good. It's actually really, really... I live for this sort of stuff. I'm a nerd, but I'm not like a statistical nerd. I'm more of a history kind of nerd, but it's still really, really nice. That's really cool. So anyway, Antonelli is on his lap right now, and he's looking to improve on his personal best. I mean, he's through. He is definitely through. I mean, he'd have to lose 0.8 to everybody else in the top 10 to get knocked out. But he's still improving. He's just under a 10th up on his last time. Russell coming through now on his lap. First sector ended, and he is half a second down. Okay, George, I think you might want to back off now and do another one if you want, but you're through. You're definitely through, son. I mean, you got to lose like 0.6 to everybody else, and nobody's going to gain 0.6 on this track apart from a driver who's made a massive mistake and is like 3 seconds off the pace, and nobody is 3 seconds off the pace. The slowest is Sainz, who's 1.8. Antonelli a tiny bit down in the middle sector now, on his own lap, so it's very, very tight. At the moment, he is less than 0.2 of a second slower. I said Russell should back off. He hasn't. He's got on a purple sector too, but he's still half a second down on his teammates. Antonelli comes out the last corner, the last braking zone I should say, turn 17, through 18 and 19. He comes across the line, 28.3, 28.2. He's improved a little bit. Good lap from Antonelli. And let's see what Russell can do. Can he get himself ahead of one of the Ferraris? No, he can't. He is 0.4 slower. That first sector must have been absolutely hideous because he has lost a chunk of time through there. He was actually quicker in the last two. And there's Leclerc. Oh, go on, Charles. Charles Leclerc, purple first sector. Now that is more like it. By the way, I am Scottish and I can say purple burglar alarm. So there you go. Verstappen, purple in the middle sector. Can we get into the 127s here potentially before the end of this qualifying session? Well, Sainz goes 11th. That means that he is out of the session. Leclerc just about down, but Verstappen and Leclerc are very close to Antonelli and Hamilton's times. Now, Leclerc is 2.5 tenths back. Verstappen is 6.5 tenths back, but that doesn't care. Verstappen doesn't care about that. He's gone top at 128.1. Let's see what Charles Leclerc can do. Can he get himself into the 1 minute 27s? No, he can't. Can he get himself into the early 128s? He can, but he is still 2 tenths down on Verstappen. That middle and last sector costing him time to the Dutchman. And there goes Hulkenberg and Lawson, who are currently fighting to get into Q3. Hulkenberg, like Sainz, is out. 4 tenths separating him and Gasly almost. And there goes Lawson with that Miami livery. Can he get himself in? No, he can't. So Hulkenberg, Sainz, and Lawson out. Sainz in 13th, Lawson 12th, Hulkenberg in 11th. Piastri goes into 4th, ahead of Hamilton and Russell. And Hamilton isn't improving, so it looks as though the guys going through are going to be... Well, the guys going out, it's probably easier to mention the guys that are out, are Hulkenberg, Lawson, Sainz, Ocon, Behrman and Albon. Norris doesn't need to improve. He's down in 9th, but he has gotten himself up into 7th, and he improved in the middle part of the lap, which is where I said he needed to work on. So out in Q2 are... oh wait, no, Ollie Behrman's still on his lap. Can Ollie Behrman go through? No, he can't. Okay, right, there we go. So Hulkenberg, Lawson. Let me just enter this, guys. Then... Behrman, Sainz, Ocon, Albon. And I will... There we go. I think that's probably quite reasonable. I'll maybe slow it down a bit now because there's more drivers on the screen, so I will go and slow this down, guys, for you. I'll make it about 400 maybe. There we go. There we go. It was on 500 before, now it's on 400. That's probably a bit better for you guys. So that's everybody that's out. So that means that the guys in Q3 are Max Verstappen, Kimi Antonelli, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Lewis Hamilton. Basically, right, everybody from the big four teams plus the 2 Alpines. So there you go. The 2 Alpines are now officially the 5th. Now officially it's the big 5 for today. Anyway, it is the big 5 teams. Alpine aren't mudded anymore. Oh, Aston Martin are? Oh, damn. I don't know why I was like rushing to check it. I forgot I've got Formula Timer. Formula Timer is so good, man. I don't know who made this. I don't know if it was that the website that Subhash made? I don't know if it was this one. But he definitely made a website that was like really useful for like analytical data. But McLaren, they were very quick in the sprint. Not so much in main qualifying. But there's still a long, long way to go. We've still got Q3. Can you imagine if Verstappen was on pole? That would be crazy. That would be wild if he was on pole. I don't think he will be, but you never know. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to do. But I think I've done pretty much everything I need to do. What I'm definitely going to do is, right, I'm going to go off this stream and then I'm going to add the points in a different document so they're all lined up together. And then I'm going to add them on and then line them up perfectly if I can. And I should be able to. So that means that you'll actually get a proper list. And that means that we'll have nice, clean graphics for if I'm going to do the race tomorrow, which I might. I've got like assignments that I need to work on. Like I've got one more left for the year. And then that's me donezo. I've got the football on as well, which isn't ideal. Celtic are playing Hibs at 12. And United are playing Liverpool. I'm not looking forward to that at all. That is going to be very nervy for yours truly. I hope to God we don't get battered like 3-0. I don't think we will. Celtic and Hibs is what I'm more concerned about, because the thing is, right, Celtic are in a title race. I think most people probably know this, that Hearts are somehow in a title race. And look, right, I want to give them credit, but let's be honest, the only reason they're in a title fight is because Rangers were terrible in the first, like, 12 games of the season, and Celtic were terrible for, like, 7 or 8 games in, like, the middle of the season and at the start. Like, that's the only reason they're still in it. But, like, oh, why did we hire Wilfred Nancy? If Martin O'Neill was still in charge, we'd be top of the table and we'd have probably almost won the league already. Damn it. Incompetence at a high level. This is probably the nicest my hair's looked, I think. It's nice and clean. Anyway, there's the Ferrari. And, whoa, gone over the curb there. Bit cheeky there. I think it was Lewis. Very, very cheeky. There's Colapinto riding over the curbs as well. They love riding. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? Anyway, there's the Ferrari. I want to hear myself say this. No, that was actually funny, guys. Come on, that was actually like quite funny. You gotta admit that was kind of funny. That was a very dirty joke. Like my audience is like PG-13, I would say. Like I don't usually swear. I try not to, because I gotta remember that I am a broadcaster first and foremost, and broadcasters don't swear. Otherwise, a bunch of middle-aged Karens will report them to Ofcom. So, gotta mind my language. Please don't monitor me. Please don't show me. Zach Brown is who they're talking to on the pit wall. I thought they were talking to Alan McNish. By the way, fun fact, Alan McNish follows me on Twitter, on my inactive Twitter, and his wife follows me on Instagram. I think his daughter does, I'm not sure. We're the same age, that's why. She's like, I think she's 17 and I'm 18, so. same age pretty much, and her brother's, Alan's son's like a couple years older than me, I think, like 2 or 3, I think. But Verstappen was really quick. Like, fair play to him. He's looking quick. It's unfortunate that the upgrades have come at the cost of Hadjar, who's now doing what Red Bull does. Red Bull second drivers do best and be about 7 or 8 tenths slower than their teammate. Not great. Right. When's the next race, by the way, after... Oh my god, we gotta wait another 3 weeks. To be fair, that might actually be a good thing, because, like, see, qualifying is fun, but the races are usually dull as dishwater. Like, I think I would have more fun listening to a Taylor Swift album than I would watching... Actually, no. No, that's no. I would never get any joy out of watching a Taylor Swift album, whereas there might be the odd F1 race that's good. I would get more joy out of listening to My Chemical Romance than I would watching a Formula 1 race. I genuinely think that. Definitely Paramore, definitely Lana Del Rey, definitely, I mean, to be fair, I listen to Olivia Rodrigo normally, so... Same with Lorde. I went to go and see her in Glasgow. Oh my god, she was amazing. Loved it. Loved every single second of that. And I'm gonna go and see Rush. I love how like my most recent concert is Lorde, and my next one's gonna be Rush. Like, there's such a massive contrast there. I love Rush. And by the way, I know songs that aren't Tom Sawyer. Okay, I know quite a few of their songs. For example, when they turn the pages of history, when these days are past and gone. See? And I've listened to 3 of their albums, okay? And I was going to start listening to 2112 today, but guess what? My freaking headphones are broken, and I couldn't listen. Like, there was a few days where they were broken, and I could, like, actually use them, but... now I can't even, like, wear them. They fall off after about 5 seconds. So, not great. Anyway, here is Lando Norris. Sorry, I misspoke there. Lando Norris. It's not Lando No-Wins anymore, sadly. No, I'm joking. It's nice to see drivers who aren't Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen win races and championships, even if they probably aren't deserved. Again, that's an opinion. That is an opinion. That is not a fact. That is an opinion. That is in my opinion, okay? I just want to clarify that. Anyway. Oh my god, there's Max's. Oh my god, you really do not need, like, a test. They are 100% his nephews. They look so much like Max and Max's sister. Like, holy crap, it's incredible. They look so much like him and his sister. I wonder how Lily will look in a few years, his daughter. I wonder how she'll look in a few years, like, compared to Max. I wonder if she'll have the Verstappen jaw. that would be so funny. You'll be like, yep, that's a female Max right there. Or whether she'll look more like Kelly. But anyway, here comes, around the final corner, that's the braking zone, final braking zone anyway. There's the overtake line thing. Oscar Piastri won here last year, the defending race winner of Miami, and the second driver from Oceania to actually win in the state of Florida in Formula 1. The first one was Bruce McLaren back in 1959 when he won the US Grand Prix at Sebring. Fun factoid there for you guys. Hey, you guys. Don't know why I did the impression of the guy from the Goonies. I've never even watched the Goonies. Anyway, Oscar 30.0 in the first sector, so not bad. Not bad. Now Lando's turn. Is he going to be setting a 30? 30.1, so he's just a tiny bit behind. Max is halfway through already, and now he's going to be getting towards his end of the first sector. He's going through 4, 5, and now heading towards 6, the double left-hander. Got to make sure you don't lock them brakes up, Max. And he hasn't. He's done a very good job of that. Well done, lad. He's a bit down on Norris. But Is he on used tires? I don't know if he is or not because I can't listen to the broadcast. Does it say on F1 timer, on Formula Timer? It does. No, apparently he's on new. And apparently Verstappen's just gone top. How has he gone top? He's down in the... Right. See, the thing is because Formula Timer's a little bit ahead, I kind of know who's first right now, and it's Max, apparently. But anyway, I'll pretend I don't know. Here comes Oscar around the final corner, a 128.6, so not a bad start. Still got room to improve, I suppose. It's a bit like them report cards that you get, I suppose. There goes Lando, 28.1. That's a bit more like it. That's sort of the pace that we saw towards the end of Q2. Are we going to get our first 27 lap here from Max Verstappen? Let's find out. He's coming out of 18 and 19 now to come across the line. Is he going to set a 127? No, he doesn't, but he just about goes ahead of Lando. 0.02 seconds quicker. The two Ferraris now, their turn to come across the line. Leclerc goes into the 1 minute 28.0s. No, sorry, 128.1s, and he's in at the front. Lewis Hamilton also goes into the 128s, although he's a little bit slower. Antonelli looks like he's going to be the first driver to go into the 127s this weekend, and he is coming down the straight at a rapid pace, a rapid rate of knots, as is George Russell, who's about 10 seconds behind him on the track. Antonelli's going to come through right about now. Colapinto goes up into 6th ahead of Hadjar and Gasly. Russell and Antonelli coming through. There goes Antonelli, and he goes top by 0.3 of a second, a 127.7. 9.8. That is some lap from the Italian. Just when you think there's a chance of another team coming into it, Mercedes just go like that. It's crazy. It is ridiculous how good they are. And Antonelli is now in front by 0.345 seconds. That is how fast he is. George Russell isn't even first. He's not even second. He's not even on the front two rows. He's 5th at the moment. Antonelli gained all that time in the middle and third sectors. Leclerc gained in the first and final sectors. Leclerc gained in the middle. But Antonelli's 0.2 quicker in both the first and the final sector. What can Leclerc do about that? He can't do much about that. Like, I suppose it shows how good the Mercedes engine is, because of course Sector 3 is almost entirely just engine. Sector 3 is a real test of how good your power unit is, and also how good your aero and drag are. If you've got a lot of drag, hang on a second, I'm going to do a Robin Miller here. Get off the racetrack, you asshole, stupid son of a bitch! I'll see if I can, I'm trying to find that video right now. Robin Miller, man, what a legend. He was before my time, unfortunately. I never really got to see him. Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, hang on a second. Get the fuck off the racetrack, you son of a bitch! There we go. Right, that's my Robin Miller impression for the day done. I loved it when Will Buxton and Kevin Harvick were quoting him on Speed. Get the fuck off the racetrack, you stupid son of a bitch! I know you guys heard that. Apologies for the bad language, but look, I had the temptation to quote him, and I had to. Plus, anybody who goes on their bike and goes rum, rum, or goes in the car and goes rum, rum, they're fannies. There's another word which South Park used, which I'm not going to use because it's a homophobic slur, but that scene is so funny. Like, it's iconic. By the way, guys, I don't know if you actually know this, but I can actually play an instrument. Where's my stand gone? Did I put my stand? Oh, there it is. It's on the floor. Hang on. There we go. Right. So, get that there. I've been holding it the whole time, but I can actually just hold it. Put it here, I should say. Right. Watch this, guys. I've got something to show you. I can play an instrument, and it's not some novelty one. I've got my pick in front of me. Well, while we're waiting, right? Ticking away the moments to make up a dull day. You fritter and waste the hours in an off-brand way. kicking around on a piece of ground in your hometown, waiting for someone or something to show you the way. Right, that's my guitar done for the day. Hang on. Someone's stuck under my wheels. There we go. Right. Yes. So that's my guitar done. I want to hear how bad I was. Let's see. That wasn't too bad. Anyway, right. Here we go. Crunch time, folks. Right, fans, it's time for the main event of the evening. And then it's Cundy and O'Hara on the sports bar. Legends. I love those guys. They're so funny. So 2.5 minutes to go. Antonelli still top, and then it's Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris. Took pole and finished second at the inaugural Miami Grand Prix 22. Well, actually, it wasn't the first Miami Grand Prix because... Well, actually, no, technically it was the first Miami Grand Prix. Actually, it wasn't the first Grand Prix held in Florida because actually, Sebring hosted a Formula 1 race in 1959, which Bruce McLaren won, ahead of... Who finished second again? Was it Phil Hill? Ahead of Phil Hill and... Wait, was it Phil Hill? Who finished second in the 1959? Who finished second in the US Grand Prix that year? Because I know Tony Brooks finished in third. Was it Phil Hill? No, it was Tranting. I was going to say Tranting Young. Because I was going to say it wouldn't have made sense for it to be Phil Hill because he would have let Brooks through. Anyway. Yes, so 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. And here we go. The final laps to decide who's going to be on pole for the 2026 Miami Borefest Grand Prix. I added the Borefest in. That is not legally its name. Its legal name is actually something entirely different. Anyway, here we go. 1.5 minutes to go. Starting his lap now. Give us a go. Mr. George Russell, currently in 5th. Coming out of turn 1 and turn 2. You got to make sure you get that lined up perfectly because otherwise your run through 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6 will be completely done and screwed over, as we saw with Lando Norris in one of the laps earlier today. He had a massive bit of oversteer in that section, and that really costed him a lot of time. But Russell's kept it very clean, and in the first sector, he is just down on Antonelli, less than a tenth, 0.063 of a second. But at the end of the day, unlike Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna at Monaco in 1988, it's going to be less than a second. It's going to be probably less than a tenth, and Piastri's already half a second down on Antonelli. Well, that's Piastri out of it for pole. So that means that already we're now down to 6 cars for pole. Norris is also not improving, so that's probably 5 we can narrow it down to. Hamilton's probably not going to be improving either. So really, let's be honest, there's only like 4 guys fighting for pole, and that's Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, and Verstappen. I digress. Here comes Russell, though. He really needs a lap here because he needs to gain 4 tenths on Kimi Antonelli. I mean, Oscar Piastri's just at a purple middle sector. Maybe he's not out of it. Nah, he is. He is, though. I did a Frank Lampard impression there. Russell, oh my gosh! What happened, George? He's only 5th. Georgi Rushilnikov is only in 5th. I don't know why I made him Soviet. Isn't the meme that he's meant to be like Osama bin Russell? Anyway, Piastri did not have a good final sector. He had a good middle part. Terrible first and third part. Norris is next. He'll probably be in the 28.4s. 28.5, even worse. So then we've got Leclerc and Hamilton. Can either of them do anything to stop Antonelli? Well, Leclerc's coming through now. It looks like he's going to be a 28, and it is, so that's him out of it now. So that means it's only Verstappen and Hamilton that can do something to stop him, and Hamilton's not going to do it. He is going to go into stay in 6th. Verstappen, though, there is a little bit of hope, because he is improving in the first sector. How's he looking in the second? Is he close? Is he close? He's close. He could still do this. Max Verstappen could still get pole position in a Red Bull car that is absolutely mid. Like, he is still on for this. He can still do this. Can Max do it? He's coming in towards the final braking zone now. 17. He's got to get this exit perfect. 18 now and 19. He's got to go foot to the floor, as close to the wall as he can. Every millisecond counts, and he goes second. Damn it, it's another Mercedes pole. Why? Why are you so damn good, Kimi Antonelli? I knew this day would come. The moment I heard about this kid, about 4 years ago, I was like, this guy's going to be winning in Formula 1 one day. He's going to be a world champion. And... why? Just... why? Why? Why do you have to be so good, Kimi? Bye, guys.